Hello and welcome to iCatholic. I'm Wendy Grace and I'm joined now by Nicola Brady, who is the chair of the Synodal Steering Committee, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what it's all about and the process so far. Nicola, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Wendy.
So tell us a little bit about your role and what the role of the steering committee is then.
So I'm chairing a steering committee, which is composed of Episcopal and lay members who bring a range of different areas of expertise to support the synodal pathway for the Catholic Church in Ireland. So when the bishops announced their synodal pathway, it was with a 5-year timeline leading to the organisation of some form of national synodal assembly for the Church in Ireland. So that's going to take place in 2 phases. And the first phase that we're in at the moment is a 2-year process of listening and discernment, really getting a sense of people's views about what a synodal process could mean for the Church in Ireland, how it could be organised, how people would like to participate, what they might hope to get out of it. And so our steering committee is responsible for guiding this first 2 years of consultation, listening, discernment. And at the end of that process, we'll produce some recommendations, really sketching out what form a national synodal assembly might take, how it might be organised, what would be needed in terms of resources, and what kind of supports people might require from the local level right through to the national to be able to participate and make the most of this opportunity. And then after that, we go into the 3-year phase of planning and implementation, where we'll put in place whatever kind of structures might be needed, and we'll look at what kind of supports and resources people might need to help them get ready to participate.
And how is it working so far, Nicola?
Well, after the bishops announced their national synodal pathway for the Church in Ireland, of course, Pope Francis also announced a universal synod on synodality for the whole Church right across the world. So we have had to adapt our plans and really integrate the work that we're doing with the Universal Synod. But we find that that's presented a really great opportunity, because as we're getting our process off the ground, we've had all these resources coming from the Vatican that we've been able to use as well. We've seen dioceses getting ready to engage with the Universal Synod. And so we decided very early on that we were going to integrate the 2 processes. And initially what we would do as a steering committee was really encourage dioceses and other Catholic organisations, lay groups, to engage with the listening process at local level for the Universal Synod, make the most of this opportunity, and then use the learning that comes out of that as well to inform the work that we do for the national synodal pathway. So in lots of ways, that's been a great support. We've been really encouraged by the initial response to the invitation to people to get involved. And I think it's been a real boost to people to know that other people in the Church right across the world are engaging in similar processes. And of course, now we're all operating more in the digital space. There are opportunities to join international conversations as well. So I think that's brought a really welcome perspective.
And people that might be watching might have already attended meetings in their local parish where they've been answering questions and giving their thoughts. Have you got any of that feedback, Nicola, or what's your sense of what people have been voicing so far?
So formally, at diocesan level, those reports are going in, and dioceses are undertaking now what we call a work of synthesis, which is where through prayerful reflection, they bring together the fruits of those listening exercises, the reports in the various different forms in which they've come in, whether that's surveys that people have completed, reports written up by facilitators of listening exercises. So because that work's underway at diocesan level, we don't have anything formally to report on yet, but those reports will be coming through to the national level in the coming weeks. So we very much look forward to receiving those and seeing what's come out of it. Informally, we're getting lots of anecdotal evidence coming through from people's experience at parish and diocesan level, and also through religious congregations, lay organisations. So lots of encouraging stories about creative ways that people have approached listening processes, really encouraging stories about people making new connections, including people who were initially very skeptical about the process, didn't really want to participate, weren't sure that it would offer much to them, and have gone into it, entered into it wholeheartedly, and been challenged to hear other perspectives, found it really enriching, particularly coming out of COVID and the isolation that people have experienced, where parishes and dioceses have offered hospitality as a way of bringing people together, a chance to share a meal, or have a cup of tea in the local parish. That's been really welcome for people. So the whole social aspect of it, which is very much part and parcel of a synodal experience of church, has been something that has been really uplifting for people.
Have you been encouraged by the engagement and the level of engagement at this part of the process?
Yes, I would say my experience, I've been speaking to a lot of different groups since we got this off the ground, really. Last September, we really started our work. And first of all, I would say there has just been an incredible amount of goodwill towards the process. People have understandably a lot of fears and concerns about what it might mean. People are concerned about divisions in the church. There are a lot of people who have had negative experiences of one form or another. So there are barriers there to trust, barriers to belonging. But I think as the process develops, certainly in my experience speaking to people, a lot of them have been reassured that this is a really honest, open invitation to dialogue, for people to share their experiences, good and bad, to share what is precious to them about their faith, to share their hopes for the future of the church, and really just building those connections, supporting each other as the process develops.
What are your hopes then, Nicola, going forward?
I think, first of all, that we build more connections. I think more than ever, we look at the challenges facing our society, whether it's the cost of living crisis close to home, or the repercussions of the war in Ukraine. We see a lot of things that are making people fearful, and we see a real need for the church to respond, to bring Catholic social teaching into the public square. And if we're going to do that with credibility, it needs to be grounded in a strong foundation of relationships from the level of the local church right through to international level. And formation, giving people in all walks of life, in all areas of experience, the confidence to share their faith and speak about that. And so my hope is that the synodal journey really helps us develop those connections and those supports as individuals, as local church communities, and as members of the universal church.
Nicola, thank you so much for joining us on iCatholic today, and thank you for all the work that you've been doing and are going to do into the future in this very encouraging conversation that we've had about the process, and I think it's going to be a very fruitful one. Thanks for joining us on iCatholic today.
Thank you very much, Wendy.
And if you want to find out more about the Synod and the process here in Ireland, how you can get connected with it, you can go to synod.ie.